She sold lies for over $700 million. But how? While reading Natwarlal's selling of the Taj Mahal and Indian Parliament with its parliamentarians, most readers have one and only one question. How did he do it? If Natwarlal is the shark, then Elisabeth Holmes is the megalodon of the con artistry. The world knows what she did, but doesn't really have the answer to the question, how? What made Bill Clinton praise her on stage? Why did America's top office holders with tons of public dealing experience fail to smell the rat? Here are the top reasons why Elisabeth Holmes successfully made everyone believe what she claimed. Number 1. She believed her own lies. She might have been acting to have a strong belief in her claimed. Or she really had a firm belief in her revolutionary blood testing machine. One thing is for sure, her firm belief contributed a lot to her initial success. At least the inventor-producer Jesse Dieter claimed. One of the more interesting things about Elisabeth was, I don't think that she thought she was doing anything wrong. She really believed her own story. She believed her own bull. Professor Dan Ariely, author of The Honest Truth About Dishonesty, How We Lie to Everyone, maintains that believing your own lies might appear delusional, but it is part of human psychology. He concludes that people tend to tell stories to themselves, and in some cases, this tendency becomes so intense that the individual begins to believe his own stories. Professor Ariely maintains that when someone repeats the same lie, his brain grows less reactive to that story as it would normally react to a lie heard for the first time. This is how the individual begins to start believing his lies because the brain isn't reacting the way it should. In addition, hearing the same lie over and over sometimes confuses the listeners because their brains find it hard to differentiate between the statement and the source of the statement. This is the reason why fake social media posts go viral. This is the stage when people strongly want to favor the information they would love to hear. Elisabeth Holmes did exactly the same. First, she believed her lies. Second, she repeated false claims over and over. Third, she fed the investors with fabricated information they would love to hear. Whether it was intentional or by chance, Elisabeth played it successfully. Number 2. They lie more when they market a good cause. Normally, when someone thinks he is doing something for a good cause, he is likely to place no barriers to lies. Perhaps Elisabeth Holmes herself was her first victim. She somehow believed her blood testing machine would one day do what she had been claiming for years. Sheer unrealistic anticipation falls hard. Perhaps Elisabeth had no escape but to make this machine work. Even if later at some stage she realized how wrong everything went, she had no option but to continue as long as things could before the truth comes out. You have to fabricate more lies to hide your previous lies. This is what Elisabeth kept doing. When you believe you are trying to do something good, you are less likely to feel guilty about all those lies. Elisabeth had a little emotional conflict about her lies since she thought she was doing a greater good. For Elisabeth, the slogan of making the world a better place with affordable and transparent healthcare facilities was perfect to attract multi-millionaire investors. Number 3. She sold a convincing story. Branding isn't complete without a brand story. We all buy these stories, and Elisabeth successfully sold her story. She would talk about her dear uncle's skin cancer diagnosis and the further complications and how it motivated her to make a difference. She touched everyone's heart while selling her vision of stopping our beloved ones from leaving us too soon, too young. You can see the impact on Dragon's Den investors who seem touchy about brand stories, and whenever a great story comes across, they are ready to compromise on a few flaws in the business plan, which they would never overlook otherwise. The problem with data is that it lacks emotions. Stories touch our emotions and sell quickly, and are more likely to win over data. Elisabeth's charisma convinced everyone to take the bait. The way she talked and allegedly faked her voice shows how difficult it would have been for anyone to turn down her claims. Elisabeth Holmes had a perfect recipe to raise over $700 million. Here are some of the most shocking facts behind the Holmes smokescreen. Theranos blood testing machine never worked. Elisabeth would do anything to prove that her machine worked. The machine that didn't even produce consistent results was a million miles away from its target. However, Holmes tricked investors by presenting fake test reports prepared using conventional testing machines. Fake demos struck major deals. The SEC concluded that the Theranos Minilabs machine was backed by fake demonstrations when the company struck deals with a large national grocery chain and a large national pharmacy chain. Most probably, the SEC referred to deals with Safeway and Walgreens. Not only did Holmes intentionally make false claims, but she conned the business giants by making the machine look as if it really worked. The demonstrations in July and August 2013 for Walgreens were staged. Holmes asked her employees to just put the Minilab in the blood collection room, but run all the tests on the hidden third-party equipment. Even after the deal was struck by the end of 2013, Theranos received $100 million from Walgreens to roll out machines faster in the stores. However, the new testing centers never actually used Minilab. All tests were outsourced, and the employees did not reveal the secret. Theranos had no military contract. Holmes never appeared to shed a sweat drop when talking about Theranos' contract with the US Department of Defense. She would go on to claim that the US Army deployed Theranos technology in medevac helicopters attending to war casualties. In fact, the Defense Department only conducted a bun study to check Theranos' technology. It was never used on the battlefield, and there was no contract at all. Fake financial projections. Holmes manipulated financial data to project a staggering $100 million turnover in 2014 and $1 billion turnover in 2015. In reality, the revenue in 2014 was just $100,000. How could someone forecast 1,000 times higher revenue with no intentions to cheat someone? And media took the bait. Nobody understands the psychology of deceit and lies more than media persons. However, Elisabeth Holmes made her way to Fortune, the New York Times Style magazine, and Forbes. The media portrayed Holmes as the female version of Steve Jobs. Holmes made most of this platform to trick multimillionaires. Nobody could resist having a chat with her. Often she appeared as having answers to all questions thrown at her. She had everything going in her favor. The only thing that ditched Elisabeth Holmes was her brainchild, the revolutionary blood testing machine. It simply did not work.